Anita.
We're the two Pilates Chicks. Again, no idea of our theme music. We should probably maybe pick some at some point.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. But what's not a surprise is where we're coming from today and from now on.
From two Pilates Chicks studios.
In beautiful Brentwood, Santa Monica, LA.
All of the above.
Yeah, so we're in the same place all the time. But today is season 5, episode 15, right? And it's a doozy. We're going to try to remain calm and try not to get overly excited or lecture.
Yeah.
I feel like I could go that route today.
We could go lecture-y, but we want to keep it a discussion.
Yes. So what is certification? Such a loaded...
There's a lot.
And so we'll try to
There goes the water bottle.
See, I'm already oh my God. We'll try to remain calm, take deep breaths. Luckily, this isn't a live studio audience, so we can just say whatever we want and then just read the comments later.
But the idea of what is certification, what does it mean to be certified? Do you know, in Pilates, do you know if you're actually certified?
Yeah. And this is where it gets is there's only one certification third party for Pilates.
Yeah.
And that is,
that is NPCP.
National
that is
Pilates
Certification Program. They are the only certifying body for Pilates. So if you do not have your certificate, your certification from NPCP,
you are not certified.
You're not certified.
Period.
So
full stop.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is the number one thing. And there's a lot of confusion between NPCP and PMA, and a lot of confusion between
certificate and certification.
Yeah. And honestly, it's something that I had been confused about too for a long time. But we'll start with
I think maybe there's such a list. So let's start with certification, certificate of completion.
Yeah.
Because you have all these, and I have a teacher training school, so you have all of these studios now on their website, and they will tell potential students that they certify them.
Right. Which is not true. You can go to those studios and you can do your teacher training program through them. And on completion, if they have a test out and you pass, you have completed your teacher training. You now have a certificate of completion. You can start teaching legally, but you are not certified.
Until you sit for the written exam with NPCP.
NPCP exam, yeah.
And pass it, and then you're certified.
And then you can say you are a nationally certified Pilates teacher, which I think sounds great.
It sounds cool. And we are I gear all of my students that that's the path they're going, to be certified teachers. And it's maddening to me when you have this whole, I do not put that I certify on my website.
Right. Because
I don't. You don't. It's a certificate of completion. I try to correct people when they come to me and say, oh, I'm going to be certified here. And I'm like, well, actually, you're getting the certificate of completion. But then there are also teachers out there, newer, going through these programs, that don't even know there's a certifying body.
Yeah.
That don't even know there's a certification.
Yep. And I think that speaks to all of these different schools, because there are plenty of teacher training programs that have so much variety between what they actually offer and what they're actually teaching. There's so many now.
So many.
And I think it's really those studios, those programs' responsibility to at least even mention NPCP. If you're in Pilates, you should at least know about it.
You should teach about it. You should tell them as they were going through their training.
Yeah.
Prepare them for it.
Yeah. I mean, some of these programs are not wanting to gear potential teachers to become fully certified, and they're really just trying to get a lot of teachers
bodies to teach.
Yeah, to teach their group classes, to teach their style, and that's what that business model is. But I think even if you're not going to focus on it, if you're running a teacher training program in any capacity, you need to at least mention it so students have some idea that it even exists. Because it is in the Pilates world, and within the industry, you need to be giving the right information to the students.
And like you said, the industry, it's creating a standard for our industry, and it's creating safety for the public, and it's creating knowledge that, hey, this industry is legit, right? It has, it's serious.
Because that's the thing. Like, why does this even matter? Like, why is this even in discussion? Is because every industry, like anything, fitness, health, wellness, and beyond, law, you name it, plumbers, electricians, every single industry in a service, you have a licensure or a certification to designate that you have done a certain level of training, that you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing, and it gives trust for the customers. Like we were talking about earlier, do you want to hire an electrician that doesn't have a certain level of knowledge? No. You
burn your house down.
Yeah. So you're probably going to, if you're looking for somebody in a trade, you're probably going to go look for someone that has a certain designation or qualification to know that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what the MPCP certification is for Pilates.
Yeah. And it's that standard. And I think you're right. It's up to the studios that have these programs to talk about it, to say this is...
At least mention
it. And it's like, but
then, but you were also talking about earlier, it's also up to studios hiring teachers to hire Pilates teachers who are certified, because that's the only way to know that they are an expert in the field. That they
have the hours, that they have the knowledge, that they can keep the clients safe and know what they're, doing in terms of, basic anatomy, precautions and contraindications, and issues that clients will have. I mean, even though the certification is a baseline, I mean, it's not like, a doctorate, right?
Right. It's showing the foundational level of knowledge that you have passed these metrics that say you can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's giving trust to your work. It's giving validation to your work. It's showing that you can be trusted to do this.
Yeah. And I think, and I've been seeing it, and I've had discussions with other teachers on this that have been out for a while, is not only are we finding new teachers that, they're not even aware of it.
Yeah, they don't even know about it.
They don't even know about it. But there's also teachers like us that have been teaching for a very long time. And when we were coming up, there was no certification. There was no body of that came later. But you have ones that they're like, why do I need it? I don't need to be certified. I've been teaching forever. There's no reason for that. But as an industry, I feel like, it is important that we're all, even if you've been, then obviously you'll do well on the test. I don't know. It's like you've been teaching a while. So.
Yeah. I think some people who've been teaching for a long time who are very against it or just don't want to deal with it, they figure, well, I've been teaching for so long, it's not going to help me in my business. Why do I need to pay for it?
Yeah, like I'm not going to give money just to give money. Like they think there's nothing in return for it.
Right.
It's just a waste.
Whereas we feel very strongly that it's really not that expensive.
It's really not.
To renew every 2 years.
Yeah, it's not even every year. It's 2 years.
Every 2 years. You need a certain amount
16,
of CECs, 16 CECs.
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years. And honestly, every teacher, whether or not they do have their MPCP certification, everybody should be doing continuing education and be learning all the time anyway. So you're going to pay for those workshops and those courses anyhow. Why not put that towards showing you know what you're doing?
Yeah. And it's like, it's very, for me, and I'm speaking for you as well, it's very easy to see those teachers that do not do continuing education.
It is, unfortunately.
It's unfortunately very easy to spot them and to realize, they're teaching from like 15 years ago in terms of their knowledge of anatomy, their knowledge of movement, their knowledge of that, Parkinson's, MS, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
it's old language.
Old cueing. So it's so important to just keep going and digging deeper into what interests you, as well as, so it's like we talked about in the episode we just did, is curiosity, like continuing to learn. So why not apply it towards your certification?
Yeah. And I mean, I personally love to learn, and so it's an easy choice for me.
Such nerds in this room.
Some people are not as inclined, and that's fine, but you can find workshops and classes that you do like and that aren't as science heavy, ones that are foundational. And honestly, it just kind of like brings back inspiration to your teaching.
It recharges it.
Yeah, you get out of that like rut feeling.
Yeah, and it's like it's almost like why are you a Pilates teacher then? Mm-hmm. Because to me, if you're not curious, if you're not learning, if you're not continuing to want to do the CECs, which is the continuing education credits, you're not in it.
Yeah.
To me, it's like it's just a job.
Yeah.
That's boring.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just thinking about all my friends in all these other fields, in accounting, in law, in medicine, in you name it. And they, like my PT friends, they will all say, oh yeah, I have this class I have to go do my last few credits to recertify or get my licensure renewed. And that to me always sounds very valid and very
like they're doing the work.
Yeah, it's very validating. And so I also like to be able to say, yeah, I just did my last 4 CECs to recertify because I'm serious about my career as a profession.
Your clients, they take that in, right? Like I have a client, she's a psychiatrist, and she has to do the hours. And so she'll say, oh, I can't come this Friday because I have one of the workshops I have to do. And so, I say, and so when I do workshops, or you have to leave and you tell your clients, I'm going to be gone because I'm doing this, continuing ed book. And to them that says, hey, she really is, continuing to learn, continuing to keep me safe, continuing to be a good teacher.
You care. Yeah, you care about your work. You care about the classes that you give about your clients. You care about your client. Yeah, it really does speak a lot, and it just is important. And so there's also, I think, this confusion now
after COVID.
Yeah,
because I think that's when things kind of went.
Things kind of fizzled out. I mean, there's always been a discussion with people about, I don't want to get certified. I don't want to pay for it. And there was always the long-term teachers saying, versus newer people that came up when the certifying body was already a thing. But now there's more confusion because the certifying body changed between PMA and MPCP. And I think that also needs to be addressed because PMA...
Totally.
Completely different businesses.
And it's not something that happened overnight, because I remember the discussions happening way before it actually happened, because it's not like years. It's not like they could just say, oh, boom, we're a separate thing.
Well, and the original idea, if I have it correctly, is that they were always going to try to separate between... PMA and a certifying body as a separate entity.
One was like a members, kind of community and the conferences and all that. And then, it was going to be a separate entity. Because their ultimate goal is higher than just this. It's,
even more than the certificate to become even more licensed to have Pilates be more validated for what we do, because what we do is very important. Yeah, and so it helps people. That's
where they're heading, and that's a wonderful thing. And so I think people got very confused, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm not with PMA anymore, or whatever." It's like, so I let my certification lapse. It's like, well, your certification isn't with PMA. It's with KCP. Yeah, and so there's this big confusion because they are totally separate.
Yeah. And so, like you were saying, so the PMA is the member-oriented community, teacher community, where they have, I think, some workshops that they still do, and the conference.
Though I haven't done a conference since before COVID.
Yeah, the COVID stuff kind of made everything funky.
The last one was Monterey that I went to.
That we went to, yeah. But then there are some virtual things, and they do their own stuff, and they have some teacher tools and recommendations for liability insurance and whatever.
You're paying to be a member of the PMA, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
But they have nothing to do with.
So they are the membership community, and then MPCP is the certifying body. So in the United States, a certifying body is a complete separation. They're their own entity. They are NCCA accredited.
Yes.
And
which is very important.
Very important. And that's what gives the validation for the field.
Yeah.
And so my story specifically is that when I went to do my master's program, the particular program I was looking at, I needed to have an NCCA accredited certification or licensure to qualify to even apply for the program. And if you didn't have that, you were automatically disqualified. So because I did have my MPCP, I forget if at that time it was still the PMA.
Probably would have still been PMA.
Yeah, back then. Yeah. So, but because I had my certification, my NCCA accredited certification, I could apply for the program and was able to do that. But my certificate of completion from my original teacher training program, that was the original thing that allowed me to start teaching, did not count for that.
No.
At all.
No. And mine's kind of like, I remember I got my certificate of completion, off I went into the world, and I remember this, I was at, I don't know, maybe my second or third studio I was teaching at, and I still remember the PMA becoming a thing. And the studio owner was like, oh, no, I'm not giving them my money. And she was just like, blah, blah. So my first, awareness of them was this negative
yeah. And mine was similar.
Yeah, from this, community that I had entered into where it was like, we weren't certified, we weren't, and so their whole thing was, oh, they're just going to take our money and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, of course, I learned later, no, that's not true. But, yeah, it's kind of like, I almost feel like we're kind of back into that mindset for some people.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. I mean, things tend to circle and cycle back around. But, yeah, I also had kind of a negative connotation towards that whole certifying body, which was the PMA at that time, because at my original teacher training studio, those teachers who were second generation teachers were very negative about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I had too, yeah.
But they also, I would say, they had the PMA certification. I don't think they continued to re-up it. But they did, those second generation teachers that were teaching us did have it.
Yeah, you know why?
But then they were negative about it.
Because if you're going to be, a training school or training, you have to be certified.
Right. Well, if you're an accredited training school.
You have to be certified.
And that's one of the problems, because a lot of these teacher training programs now are not actually accredited programs. So that's also
part of it. We could just go on and on. But yeah, and I tell this to people when they call or they reach out for teacher training, and they don't understand. They don't understand their certification or this or that or this, and they want to do it really quickly. Well, I can do and be certified in 5 weeks a year and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's great. They're not going to certify you, but you will have a certificate of completion. But also to understand that if that's the route you want to go as a teacher and you want to just teach at that studio, just understand.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to be teaching.
Well, that's what you're being trained for.
And that's what you're being trained for in that program. But if you are doing I don't know how many hours and then you want to be certified.
Yeah. Well, and I think even if you're not being certified, you're still supposed to be completing 450 hours minimum.
Oh, for sure.
So if you're just cramming that in 3 to 6 weeks.
But I don't think that's the whole point for me, is like you can't, you're only doing so many hours to learn their exercises in that studio.
Right.
So you can teach at that studio, and if that's what you want to do, that is fine.
Yep.
But don't expect that you can then leave that studio
and go
somewhere else.
Because you will then need to be doing a bridging program or a supplementary teaching program to get the comprehensive understanding.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like certain spin classes, right? Like you can become maybe a spin teacher in, I don't know the details, but a specific amount of time. Certain step aerobics, certain group fitness things can be a quick learning, but you also tend to also need your personal training certificate to then do those smaller other ones. And the personal training certificate is nationally accredited.
Yeah.
And they have more options. They have like a dozen or so NCCA.
And we went through all that.
Yeah. But
at some point.
For Pilates, if you're doing a short condensed program, it might seem cheaper or quicker at the time, but understand, in the long run, if you are looking to build a career, you will end up spending more, because you're going to end up needing to do a secondary certification program.
Yeah.
To make up for what's maybe lacking in those other ones. Yeah.
And I think it really goes down to like, why are you wanting to teach Pilates?
Yeah, like what your goal is.
What your goal is. Because if your goal is, I just want to teach at the studio because it's really cool and I want to teach these classes, great.
Yeah.
Then that's perfect. But if you want to like go and start doing one-on-ones with people or teaching people to have issues or going into a full system studio, then you're
going to be missing things.
Yeah. So, but I do think it's so important for people to... I think it's up to us as studio owners. I think it's up to us as teachers that are out there and certified to talk about it and to explain to people what it means and why it's important.
Yeah.
And that there is a certifying body.
Yep.
And that it is extremely important because you have a lot going on out there.
Yeah.
And people are getting hurt.
Yep, we're seeing
that more. And... we need to keep our industry standards where the public is like, you're not going to a party and someone says, what do you do? Oh, I teach Pilates. Oh, yeah, I got hurt doing Pilates.
Yeah.
That is not something you ever want to hear.
Which you do hear more now. Yeah. Which is just ridiculous. But, I mean, the certification, the certifying body, it really brings a common language to the industry. It elevates the industry. It validates the work that we do. It gives that baseline foundation of knowledge that if this teacher is nationally certified, if you have the NCPT after your name, that you are at a certain level of understanding and teaching and that clients can trust you. And that other professionals maybe can refer to you because they trust.
Yeah, like PTs are going to refer to you and, doctors will refer to you. Surgeons will refer to you.
If you have the certain designation, if they know that by having those letters after your name, that it actually means something. Yeah.
And people talk about this, and I know we're rambling, but people talk about, the clients don't care, it doesn't matter. It's like, it does.
Yeah.
And for clients that really are coming for a purpose, they're doing their research.
Yeah. Especially ones that have chronic pain and other issues and have long-standing issues that they've dealt with, especially coming from a PT that they're trying to find somewhere where they feel safe.
Yeah. And it's like, and even if they don't know, when you tell them, oh, I am certified, this is it, this is the hours, blah, 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 that makes them feel safer.
Yeah.
That makes them feel like, okay, I'm in good hands.
Yeah. And I just go back to every other industry, every other field has a certification, a nationally accredited licensure or certification. And do you want to hire somebody that doesn't have a certification of whatever that field is that you're looking to hire someone for?
It's like, no. It's like it's the same. I mean, people are trusting their bodies.
Yeah.
In Pilates. Like, they are giving you their injuries. They don't know what they're doing. They have pain, or maybe they don't. Whatever it is, it's like they're trusting that you know what you're doing. And by having our industry have this certification, just shows people, hey, we're legit. This is the standards.
Yep.
This is a safe place.
Yep.
We've done the work. We're continuing to learn, which I think is huge. Because think about when we first started teaching and what knee surgeries and replacements were way back 25 years ago and now.
Yeah, completely different.
Hip replacements.
Very different.
The knowledge of the MS, the knowledge of Parkinson's, the knowledge of dementia, all these things that we're having to deal with. If we don't keep up and keep learning, it shows when you're teaching.
Yeah, it does a disservice for yourself, your career, your clients, and the industry.
Yeah.
So
lecture over. No, kidding.
Learn about the NPCP if you don't know.
Check out their website. Yeah, and the test, they have a study guide,
which is actually I bought the new one.
You were helping.
I was helping
Effie.
someone. I was helping someone study, and I bought the new one because I thought it was a nice overview guide where I was like, this is a good resource.
Yeah, and they do. It's like, it's one of those tests that I think it's important to do the study guide because of the way you're learning how the test is. Yeah,
you're learning how the questions are worded and trying to choose the best case answer, even though there could be multiple right answers.
Yep.
So you need to be able to analyze what the best choice would be.
It's that critical thinking we were talking about in the last episode. Yeah.
Yep. And that's important.
But if you want information more, go check out their website, and we're happy to help out and answer questions.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're on our soapbox, really screaming loudly that I don't think any of my students have not gone and sat for the test.
Yeah,
it's just not. Yeah, it's just so important.
It is important.
Yeah. I think we hit it. Yeah, I think we. And hopefully, if Ray or Lolo and Eric been listening, we didn't we did them a good job. But and also feel free to email them because they are more than happy.
They're very responsive.
Responsive.
They want to help teachers succeed and be certified and understand.
And they don't want you to fail. They want our industry to be better, and they want our industry to be as recognized as, the quality that it deserves in the teachers. And they will help you.
Yeah.
They will guide you. Yeah. They're your friend.
It's in the community.
It's in the community.
So let us know if you have any questions about it. And we're happy to be coming to you from 2 Pilates Chicks Studios.
Woo! Yeah, and you can catch us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We have our workshop virtually. Oh, and it is for CECs. Speaking of continuing education, and that's in November. You can check that out on our website. And we're updating our website now that we have our studio, and now that
we'll be coming to you daily.
Yeah, daily. Yeah, hopefully we won't bombard social media. Yeah.
So thanks for listening.
Bye.